Hello angels, I am back. This time we're going to be talking about the first trimester. Hey. It's just going to include some beneficial information that I was looking for during my first trimester, and I am hoping it's useful to you. Your first trimester goes from, conception all the way to 12 weeks. Depending on when you find out, I mean, that's pretty much when you start the count of your first trimester. It's typical that you find out at a missed period at 5 weeks. So I think in comparison to the rest of the trimesters, being knowledgeable about your pregnancy, it might be shorter than the rest of those trimesters. And luckily so, because so far it's been the worst. I'm just going to talk about in this video some changes, some prenatal care and prenatal vitamin information, morning sickness, and yeah, that's about it. And that's it. So some changes that you go through during your first trimester. I kind of hinted on some of these in my previous video about me revealing the fact that I am pregnant to YouTube in the first place, but food aversion is a real change that you go through. You literally don't want to eat anything you like, you probably won't like anymore. Because I lost like a lot of weight in my first trimester. When I went to the doctor, my starting pregnancy weight was 114 pounds, which is like crazy. That means I lost like 10 pounds upon getting pregnant with this baby. It's literally because I didn't want to eat anything. Nothing at all seemed appealing. I was being very difficult as far as what I wanted to eat. A lot of fruits, smoothies, things like that were the only things that I wanted to consume. Salads, soups, fruit, small stuff. That was my go-to. Snacks, go-to. Another change, a lot of women describe it as an iron taste in your mouth. For me, it tastes nothing like iron. The best way I can describe it is you can literally taste your tongue. Like, your hormones are so strong. The taste in your mouth is so strong that you can taste the film on your tongue. Another change that you will notice is frequent urination. Frequent trips to the bathroom. The baby is not putting pressure on your bladder at this point. It's your hormones and if you're just drinking more water like I did during my first trimester, you will have to go to the bathroom more. So prenatal vitamins is what I want to talk about next, and this is my next sequence of things, because prenatal vitamins is probably one of the first things you run out the house to get. I sent MommaSavvy to get prenatal vitamins, and because of that I went through maybe 3 different brands of prenatal vitamins until I found this one that I'm on now, which I love. And I'll give some information as like the top vitamins that you might want to look for in a prenatal vitamin. First being iron. You want to have at least 27 milligrams of iron in your prenatal vitamin. DHA is important as well. DHA is omega-3 fatty acid, which is important for the baby's brain development. Folic acid is very important, and calcium as well. So you want to have upwards of 125, 124 milligrams of calcium in your prenatal vitamins. So those 4 are like must-haves. There's a bunch of other vitamins that usually come in hand, but as long as you have those 4, you should be good. Then there is morning, and in parentheses, afternoon sickness. And I want to say and stress afternoon, because it did not happen for me immediately waking up in the morning. I was not just running to the bathroom, but I experienced my sickness around lunchtime, around the time I was getting hungry. And what I noticed during my first trimester, it's usually because of having an empty stomach upon lunch that I was getting sick. So I had to really just get into the mood of having breakfast at breakfast time. I love breakfast, but not really at breakfast time. But I had to get used to this. I had to start eating small little snacks, crackers, little things like that, fruit cups in the morning, so I wouldn't be starving by lunchtime. And at that point, you start to like gag because your stomach is just like, we were trying to break this fast, when you woke up, but you didn't do it, so now we're gonna throw up. But to be honest, I did not experience morning sickness a lot. Baby Savvy was really good to Mama Savvy, and I only threw up maybe like 4 or 5 times. And 2 of those times I can remember were like from the prenatal vitamin and taking it in the morning. But yes, morning sickness you will maybe you will experience during the first trimester. It just depends. During your first trimester is a time where most people generally start their prenatal care. So depending on when you find out you're pregnant, one of those next things you want to do is find a good doctor. I got lucky and I kind of got my doctors through word of mouth. My mom and sister used the same providers, so I just fell in line with them. Well, at first I went out on a limb and tried to do some research, so I called my insurance company to see what doctors were in network, and I called around, and I started with a different prenatal care provider, but then I just got weary and went along with word of mouth, which is very strong during this time because you just want to hear other people's flat out experience. And I would suggest doing research on the doctor that you come across. If you don't know a good doctor and your insurance company spits out all these doctors, do some research, look at surveys, look at their grade as far as what people say. When you do get your prenatal care provider, you're going to have an initial visit. This initial visit can either take place over the phone or in person. They gave me some useful information and these little booklets, which included information on like prenatal classes and like the birthing center information and what can and cannot be done there, and just useful information for all trimesters of pregnancy, even up until breastfeeding. So I found this all very useful. The first time you do go into your prenatal care provider, they're going to take a blood sample usually just to test your vitals and make sure everything is testing out for you and baby. Every follow-up visit, every visit to follow is going to be what they usually call or refer to as a follow-up visit. Well, they'll check your heart rate, check your pee for your protein levels and sugar levels, and they'll also do an ultrasound at your first initial visit with a doctor, which is typically bedside. It can be topical or vaginal. It just depends on how far along you were. I was 11 weeks, so it was topical. My friend was 9 weeks. Hers was also topical. But my best friend, she went in at like 5 weeks, and hers was a vaginal ultrasound. So it depends on how far along you are with your baby. Also, I think I should warn you all to have a full bladder whenever you do go into the doctor's office, regardless if you're meeting with the nurse or your doctor, because they're usually going to need a pee sample. And for me, it was kind of hard because I went to the bathroom before I showed up to the doctor. Yeah, just show up with a full bladder. Yeah, other than that, that's the first trimester. I hope I was helpful with this information. Like and subscribe if so, and look out for the next video. Bye, and as always, be blessed.